And Lorena touched a little bit about the challenges that we see in the community. But can you expand a little bit more about what do you think is the biggest challenge that Latinas are facing in Ohio?
Well, we can think about one is how to navigate this new system, how to be true to ourselves, how to keep our culture. A lot of us, we're isolated. We feel like we're by ourselves. And isolation is one of the big challenges that we face as a Latinas. We face as a lot of labels. So how we can go beyond those labels? So language, isolation, fear, a lot of fear.
Yeah, tagging along what you said, a lot of my clients have fear. And fear is impeding them to act and to make the change happen. The fear is impeding them to be leaders and to have the leadership what they will need in their lives. So I take them back, and every single time that I interview my clients, of course I have to go to the legal questions, but I want to go to the core of the human being, because that is where it lies what I need. And I have to take them there to empower them. So also is self-esteem. Fear and condemnation, also lack of self-esteem. So I take them where they came to the United States, back into Guatemala, back into Salvador, back into Brazil, back into wherever they come from. And I said, back then, you had the strength to cross Mexico and to cross the border. And you were not afraid to come to the United States. What you were not afraid of, because you have to give food to their family, because you want a better future for your family, because whatever you want, you had the strength to break all the barriers and come here to the United States. Why here in the United States, you had this fear. You broke all this barrier. You crossed against all the odds. You crossed in the desert. You knew that you could die. You knew that you can just face so many challenges. And even though you came here, take back whatever you back in your country, that motivation, that encouragement, and take it here in the United States.
I think access to leadership, taking it to another end, is something that is very critical for us as women in general, and in particular because as New American communities and immigrant women, we are a minority within the minority within the minority. Therefore, I believe that we must speak louder and continue to find opportunities to position ourselves for leadership roles. Is it scary? Yes. But we can do it. Access to development opportunities is something that is very critical. Many of us have learned what we know just by the grace of God, a few good people who help us in winging it. And I'm sure there are better ways. It's important to find those opportunities to further develop our skills, our careers, our professional persona. Also, the finding the right mentors and sponsors. And there's a difference there. A mentor is someone that is going to help you, plan, analyze your career, and be there every so often and check with you and walk you through that process of improvement. A sponsor within a business setting is someone that is committed to placing you somewhere where you're going to succeed. I think that those are critical people that we need in our lives in order to continue to improve. And most importantly, access to education. It does not matter how capable we as women or men might be. If you don't have that certificate, that degree to prove it, then you go back to the end of the line. And I think it's very critical for us to continue to just pound that concept really, really hard on our people, that it doesn't matter how good you are or how great your intentions are. If you don't have an education to back you up, you're not going to be where you need to be. So I think that the challenges that we're facing, not just as Latinas and Latinos, but as a community, is, how do we find those leadership opportunities? And when we find them, how do we find those mentors to help us find our voice, to help us navigate those new environments and step up to the challenge and not be afraid of doing it, because those few of us who make it that far need to remember the 360,000 who are behind us who may not be there.
One of the things that we have gathered some information in Latinas in Ohio we have given them questionnaires in terms of what are your biggest challenges. So we have noted that it depends of the immigration status of the person, the challenges that are going to be. So I think the biggest challenge for the Latina cannot be, in my opinion, be generalized, because each is going to present different challenges. So we have presented this program to Latinas in English who do not speak Spanish or speak both languages and fluent, or Latinas who do not speak English and only Spanish. And we have noticed a difference in terms of challenges. One of the challenges that Lorena was mentioning is isolation, one of the biggest ones. One of the challenges for Latinas who speak both languages is how to preserve my culture with my children. How am I going to preserve that, those things that are important for me, and I'm seeing my child who is not speaking the language or is more acculturated to the United States culture. So those are different challenges that a woman who doesn't speak English and all the family speaks Spanish, the challenge might be, how is my host community receiving me? Is my kid being bullied because of his ethnicity or her ethnicity? So the challenges are so different at different levels that I guess the most important thing is to hear the voices of that community, of that group of people, and try to help them at leadership level, media, lawyers, psychology, working in multidisciplinary themes in order to empower the community or the group of people or the person. So, and I just wanted to add something that Lilly was saying in terms of access. One access that is very limited, especially for those who are recent immigrants or who are undocumented, is that the lack of health insurance. And the lack of health insurance, of course, when you talk about health issues, traditionally this population, undocumented population, they use crisis services more often than going to regular doctors. So and then when they have access to doctors, they have to pay, and then it's very expensive, as you know, right? But then they don't have the interpreters there on base, right? I remember when I was doing my practicum and my internship in different places through my career, when I got into a hospital, for instance, I said, do you see any Latino patients or clients, depending on the setting? No, they don't come. Guess what? When I started there and I was bilingual, they start coming. So it's the lack of the host society, how they are receiving that, the effort that they are putting into that in providing interpreters, providing paperwork, translation, not talking even about mental health issues. I mean, I'm in Dayton, and there are only two psychologists who can provide bilingual services. And I know in Columbus there are probably three, because we know all each other, because we have to refer each other, not to count psychiatrists for medication or other doctors. So there are a lot of challenges that they confront. Again, just to summary, it depending of the migration, documented, undocumented, acculturation, and things like that are present in the community.
And I just want to add this. We work together in our program, Latinas in Ohio, facing challenges, taking action. We went to Oxford, remember? Mm-hmm. And in Oxford, there were a lot of Latinas, professors, and there were PhDs. And the main challenge was how to continue being a Latina and to pass on the cultural heritage to the children. And I remember we went to Cincinnati, and the problem was how to navigate the system. And fear, a lot of fear. They didn't speak the language. There was language, fear, self-esteem, and there was a problem about how to navigate, because the system is there, but they are not connected. And when we came to Columbus, they were all leaders, remember? Mm-hmm. We are powerful here, but they were not connected.
The challenge is how to connect together.
And our challenge was how to connect them to start working together, because they are powerful, but how we can help them to intertwine to work together. So every time we go in some different places, and in Dayton, it was very impressive because we have like a balance.
Mix, yeah.
Because they were working in the U.S. and the Air Force Base, remember? And they were powerful. But there were other ones that they just arrive and they need to navigate. So like Erendira say, we cannot say this is our challenge. We need to listen to the stories, but we have listened to them and we have learned, you know, what is what unites us. Something that we learn in here in Columbus that we love it. I was just fascinated.
We want to come back.
Yeah. We rediscover ourselves, our leadership. And I didn't know that, but my mom was very powerful. And I forgot about her. My grandmother, too. So we went through that and in a wonderful exercise. Could you please do it again? So we were able to rediscover our leaderships. And we thought, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. My grandma was here, my father. You know, we went through the roots of us being a Latina. And we kind of cleared up and, you know, oh my God, this is me. And I think that we're in the moment of rediscovering ourselves in a unique way because each one of us have our own story. But that leadership have a face and a color. Remember, there was a color, how we color our leaderships and how we smell the leadership. I remember mine was green because I'm from the rainforest of South America. And my leaderships have memories of flavors and colors and those things we need to put it together here. So it was like being a whole new person that we didn't know that we have it, but it was there. So when we did rediscover the leadership, it was for me a new level of Latinas living in Ohio.
Should we do the visualization exercise to the entire state of Ohio?
Yeah.
And I guess that's the second part, that is taking action. So we have the first part that facing challenges, where we identify our challenges, and taking action is what we are going to do now that we identify our challenges. And the second phase, the taking action, we implement wherever they want in their survey. So Columbus wanted leadership, and that's what we were talking about. But Dayton wanted self-esteem. So it depends on the community that the taking action was implemented. But yeah.